What is up, guys? Stark here. I am back for another Fate video and another character spotlight, and in today's video we are doing the character spotlight for the new event character Nightingale. So Nightingale is the newest addition to the Santa roster, and although technically we are getting her a month late, it is very fitting that we do get her in December for the Christmas event, because it is a Christmas event and a Christmas character. So kind of made sense that we actually got her a month late in December, and her event will be coming with a lottery. But we're not here to talk about the event, we're here to talk about her as a character and if she's good or not. So we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. Although if you ask me, I do think she is a pretty good character, and I'm not just saying that because she's voiced by Miyuki Sawashiro. I do think she's a pretty good character overall. So anyway, as an event character, she will be a 4-star servant, and she's going to be an archer class this time. At level 80, she will have 11,080 HP and 9,858 attack. This will rank her 166th overall in HP and 108th overall in attack. It's not really that big of a deal though. She's not really here to be doing damage, although she can do some pretty good damage. That's not the main focus of her character design. Her star absorption is 153, her star generation is 8%, and her Nimble Phantasm generation is 0.6, and on defense is 3%. So as I previously stated, Nightingale is not here to do a whole lot of damage. She is mainly focused on support, and pretty much every single thing that she does is centered around that support. And her first skill is going to remove one buff from all of the enemies, also remove one debuff from all of the allies, and also recover HP for all allies. So this will be on a 5 turn charge time at maximum level, which is pretty good, and you do get a whole lot out of this here, being able to remove debuffs, remove buffs from enemies, and also recover HP. Overall, it's a really good skill. It's purely AoE as well, which is really nice. It's not just a one enemy / one ally thing. You're going to hit the entire enemy team, all of your allies, healing, removing debuffs, removing buffs. Really good skill. Yeah, it's just, if you know, most of the times going into the fights, especially on NA, what these enemies do. So if you know that you're going to need to remove debuffs from your team or remove buffs from, the enemies, you can go ahead and just insert Nightingale right into the mix, and you get a pretty good amount of heal as well. 3,000 HP at level 10 for your entire team. Her second skill will apply Guts to one ally, and they'll revive with 1,000 HP. Now this does only last for 3 turns, so they would have to use it within those 3 turns. You're also going to increase that buff removal resistance to that ally for 3 turns, and also increase the Nimble Phantasm strength for that ally for 3 turns. Again, another very good support skill. Being able to have Guts is really nice. Being able to have the buff removal resistance, really good, so that way the buffs that you do have aren't going to be taken off. And also you do get a Nimble Phantasm strength increase. So even if you're just using the skill strictly for the Nimble Phantasm strength increase, that's still going to be a really good skill. You have a 30% increase to the Nimble Phantasm strength for 3 turns. So it's not just a one and done thing, you do get it for 3 turns, which is really nice. The only real drawback to the skill is that it is on a 7 turn charge time at maximum level, which is a little bit high. And then her third and final skill will increase the attack for all of your allies for 3 turns, and also increase the critical strength for those allies as well for 3 turns. So here we have a pretty simple skill, but again, another very good AoE support skill. It's going to be on a 6 turn charge time, which is actually a little bit higher than I was thinking. I did think it would probably be on a 7 turn charge time, but well, 1 extra turn. You do get 30% increase to your critical strength and 20% increase to your attack for 3 turns. Really nice skill, and combo that in with all of your other buffs and debuffs and all that stuff. Nightingale is going to be a pretty good support character for you, especially if you are a newer player and you need a little bit of help as far as support goes. The only real drawback, or the only real thing that she doesn't do that I would really wish that she did, is some sort of Nimble Phantasm battery or Nimble Phantasm gain or something like that. She does lack that, but she does make up for it with a bunch of other really good effects. As for her passives, she has 3. They're pretty standard here. Increase your debuff resistance by 15%, increase critical strength by 11%, and increase buster card effectiveness by 12%. So all in all, Nightingale has a pretty good set of skills if you ask me. The only real drawback is that they are a little situational with being buffs and debuff removers. So if you're in a situation where you don't need any of that, then you're only going to get that heal out of it, which is still pretty good. But on a 5 turn charge time for a 3,000 HP heal is a little bit high. Outside of that though, Like I said, I wish she did have a Nimble Phantasm battery or a Nimble Phantasm gain or something like that, just to help the team a little bit more. But overall, I will give her 4 stars for her skills. So now taking a look at her command card deck and her Nimble Phantasm, she's going to have a balanced deck with 2 quick, 2 arts, 1 buster, really good hit counts, 4 on the quick, 3 on the arts, 3 on the buster, and 5 on the extra attack, as well as 6 on her Nimble Phantasm. And her Nimble Phantasm is going to be a quick Nimble Phantasm that will deal damage to all enemies, remove offensive buffs from all of those enemies. Now, however, this will also remove any ailments debuffs from them as well, so like burn, curse, poison, things like that. Those will also be removed from those enemies. So that's a little bit of a drawback, but at the same time, you're going to remove offensive buffs, which is really helpful, and do some pretty good damage as well. And then on the overcharged, you will decrease the defense for all enemies for 3 turns. And you should be able to get Nightingale MP5 pretty easily, so you should be able to get the maximum out of this. So yeah, overall, really good Nimble Phantasm if you ask me. Pretty good damage, really good effect. So if you have an opponent that does have some buffs that they put on themselves, you'll be able to go ahead and remove those most of the time. And then removing like curse, burn, and poison isn't really that big of a deal because most enemies really don't, or most characters don't really do that anyway. So if you're going to be using like a team that does curse or poison damage, then you're not taking Nightingale onto your team anyway, so it's not going to be a big deal. So overall for her damage, I'm going to give her 3 stars. She's really not the damage dealer on your team, although she can do some pretty solid damage with her Nimble Phantasm, and she does have one of her skills to increase the attack and critical strength, so you could get some pretty good damage out of her. But overall, she's not really your damage dealer. She's going to focus primarily on supporting your team, so 3 stars for damage. And that will also give her a 3-star in critical ability as well. Like I said, she does have that skill for critical strength increase for all allies, which does include herself, so you do get a pretty sizable increase. And she does have pretty good absorption there as an archer at 153. But again, you're not going to be using her as your damage dealer, and though technically she does have some pretty good stuff there for crits, you're going to be definitely focusing on using all of that for other characters as opposed to her. But if you are in a situation where she gets like a majority of the cards, she can do some pretty good damage and some pretty good crit damage as well. And then for her Nimble Phantasm, she is going to get 4 stars. It's a pretty good Nimble Phantasm, does a pretty good amount of damage, and has a pretty helpful effect there with removing offensive buffs, although again it could be very situational. If the enemy doesn't use defensive or offensive buffs, then it's pretty much just going to be a damaging Nimble Phantasm with a decrease of defense for the overcharge effect. So it is a bit situational, so it does lose a couple points there because of that, but still it is really good Nimble Phantasm. And like I said previously, you're going to know most of the time if the enemy is going to be using offensive buffs or not, so you're going to know whether or not you're going to need to put Nightingale into your team to remove those buffs. But yeah, overall it's a pretty solid Nimble Phantasm, so 4 stars for that. As far as survivability goes, I'm going to give her 3 stars. She does have that second skill which can apply guts to an ally, but more often than not you're not going to be using this on Nightingale herself. And although she does have the healing skill for her first skill, it's 3000 HP, which is pretty good, but she doesn't have any hard defense like evasion or invincibility or anything like that, so she could go down pretty fast. And she does also have a pretty low amount of HP, so she will die pretty quickly. And again, like, her skills are not really meant to keep herself alive, they're meant to keep your allies alive. So I guess you could use them on herself to help her a little bit, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like most of the time you're not going to be using it on herself, you'll be using it on someone else. And then for support, she's going to get 5 stars for support. I mean, every single skill she has is pretty much geared towards support, so really what else could I do is other than give her 5 stars there for that. And then we'll give her overall ranking a 3.7 out of 5. I think she's a pretty good character, really useful as a support character. She can still do some pretty good damage herself if you get in that situation where you have to use her as your damage dealer. So yeah, overall I just think she's a really good character. She's a welfare character, so obviously you should just be getting her just because of that. You'll be able to MP5 her very easily, and she's part of a lottery too, so you should be farming that lottery and have no issues picking up Nightingale and adding her to your team. So yeah guys, that wraps up another video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I have the links below to my Twitter, Twitch, Patreon, and Discord. So feel free to check those out, as well as check out the other videos for the 25 Days of Fate. I do also have that giveaway video live. I will announce the actual date for that very soon, so keep an eye on Twitter and You know, I do stream on Twitch pretty frequently, so I will announce it on Twitch as well. So just keep an eye on those things so you guys can figure out the exact date for it. And once I do reveal it, I will be talking about it at the end of all of these videos as well, so you guys can stay up to date with all the information for the giveaways. But for now, guys, that's going to be the end of this video, so I will see you guys tomorrow for the next episode of the 25 Days of Fate.